today. So yeah, special time that we are going through, and special alignment of our outer body. And our outer body, it means our planets that are part of our body.
But before the planets, this comes first.
Okay, first things first, the tea. That's why we gather.
So let's have our teacups, and let's join our hearts and our minds and our ears, and share whatever comes to us today.
Yes.
Welcome, 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 and thank you for dedicating this time and playing together.
Yeah, from one heart, really. And Lisa says cheers. Cheers, Lisa. Great. So it's interesting to see if you guys are feeling this, because those outer planets are now starting to get into amazing alignment with us. And I have been certainly feeling it, and very, very strongly. But so few things are coming into play at the same time, yeah? So we are going to have solar eclipse, okay? So that's one thing. But what we are having together with the solar eclipse is that our Earth aligns with the Galactic Center. And that alignment with the Galactic Center, hey, Anna. That alignment with the Galactic Center is opening completely different level of channel for us, because actually what is happening is that, like, if you imagine the plane of solar system of galaxy to be flat, and in the center is Galactic Center. The plane of our solar system is at the angle of about 60 degrees, like this. So like our Earth goes around up and down the galactic plane. So twice in a year, on the 21st of June and 22nd of December, it aligns precisely and enters into that plane. Almost like if this is a table, it's usually above the table or below the table, above, below. But on this day, on the 21st, it's going to be at the table, at the same alignment with where Galactic Center is. So amazing level of channeling can come in from the Galactic Council and the actual real sun, which is, next level of depth of sun, which is the center of the galaxy.
So for you galactic beings, who I know here, you might have visions, dreams, inspiration, completely ungrounded, completely full on, all antennas open. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. For other people who are less connected to Galactic, it's just a little bit awful moment, because nothing goes as it should. Everything seems to be a little bit scattered and falling apart and changing.
And for some of you, how it might be is that all of a sudden you feel like you need to stop what you're doing and actually meditate. This happened to some friends of ours. It's like, whoa, I thought I'm going to have an online training and I have to stop this because it just won't happen.
Yeah, definitely not the moment to start anything. Not anything new, like sit through, wait, and just be quiet and receptive.
So amazing messages can come through. And for any of you who are interested in actually a little bit deeper fine-tuning into how to receive those messages, I think we would have to have a separate little session where I kind of guide you how to create this energetic vehicle. Some of you don't need it. For those who need it, I find it helpful for me to create that energetic vehicle and then go with that and open the channel for the messages. So that's one part of the thing. But what happens in our solar system at the same time is that we have 3 huge planets, the biggest ones, that are going retrograde. So it means they go backwards to teach us more lessons, And one of them is Saturn, who is actually going backwards towards the place where institutions operate. Yeah. So what it means, it's just going to get back into the institution's place on July 4th. So you can imagine what will that happen. So this is, we know already what's brewing around US. So when this happens on July 4, it is going to be one more huge influence of a helper, so to speak, helper of the dark side that is going to kind of get another boost. So we can get prepared to go to the next level of light and observe it without involvement if we can. And it's those 3 planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, are all going retrograde until October 12th. So it's going to be an interesting period between July 4 and October 12th. Expect yet another desperate attempts of the dark forces to bring us down, and like another invented like global event, or whatever it could be. And expect to be inspired to go higher in light and just surf those waves and stay above them and don't trust any of it. It's just the computer game, but it feels super real if we have those like virtual reality goggles on. So after October 12th, all of these planets start going forward again, and then we can start kind of seeing what happened in this turmoil that we had this year.
Mm-hmm. And if that was not enough, Mercury is retrograde since 2 days. So miscommunications and actually on purpose wrong communication. So really be careful, be mindful what you read, what you hear, what you believe in. Don't believe anything readily. Don't disbelieve anything readily. Just have your triple filters on for anything communication, and be patient with
information.
With information.
So this is so important because part of the reason why we are doing it now, all of these planets retrograde are telling us, okay, parts of our body wants us to reevaluate everything we know about the topics that we think we know all about. So the topic today is sun. And we feel, well, of course, we know everything about the sun. It's been around all this time, and we kind of take it for granted. And there is a lot to be rethought about sun. As we have seen, in this last period, how important information can be suppressed. Well, we can see that this is the most important influence of our lives, of our outer bodies. So we can imagine that the real power of what we have in front of our eyes, we don't have the full grasp of how huge it is. So now we will talk about
if we
it.
would have like how essential it is to life, and how we probably don't realize, it's not when the sun goes down and in the night, it's okay, so life doesn't stop. But if the sun would go off in 3 days, any life on planet would disappear. If the sun just goes off, not disappears behind the cloud, but if you just take it off, so we would freeze. Everything would freeze and fall apart. So it is absolutely essential for anything to exist on Earth, and for our metabolism and mechanism of plants' bodies. So if the sun would be clouded, like really with a cloud of ashes all over the planet for about 14 days, already the plants would stop, producing oxygen. And
well, we would have another ice age, like what happened previously in the history of the planet. So before we even start, we would like to ask you a question. What is your relationship with the sun? And specifically, are you actually collaborating with the sun in some sort of a conscious way yourself at this moment? Or you just take sun bath?
Which is cool too.
Yeah, which is already huge.
Lisa, yet what? Just sunbath, or you're talking to sun, or?
For me, I'm a sun lover and have been trying to stop people hating on the sun, being frightened of the sun, putting sunscreen on their skin for many years. And from when I was a child, and I remember a babysitter at an eclipse, she put curtains up all over the windows and you're not allowed to look at the sun, you'll go blind, blah, blah, blah. But I thought, oh, there must be something about this. But I used to look at the sun as a child, and I've noticed that the sun has lost its golden glow and has become bright white. And I postulated a while ago and thought, I wonder if this is a conscious effort on whoever's behalf, that the sun actually absorbs our energy. It glows. It's a bipartite situation between beings and the sun, that the sun glows because of the energy, the love that we give it. And if we turn that love off, and even worse, start hating it and start being frightened of it, the sun loses its golden glow. So I haven't found anyone that agreed with me about this, but I had a friend recently who said, Lisa, what you say about this sun business, they've actually said that the sun is, because it's like this magnesium bright. It's not like I remember when I was a kid. It's gone white. And they've said it's actually a very positive thing that the sun is glowing brighter and whiter. But I don't know, jury's out on that one. But yeah, absolutely. And the sun gazing is absolutely incredible to go into that space. Not that I do that like regularly as what I believe all human beings should be doing. But for me, having pasty white skin, never wearing sunscreen, you know, if you're not used to being in the sun, coming out of winter, you just slowly engage yourself with the sun. And because I'm an outdoors person, I don't burn. It's, you know, so anyway, that's me in the sun.
Wow, Lisa, so maybe you can expand on the sunscreens. We do have our little theory, but I believe you have a very established one.
Well, I mean, if you go into the chemistry of the sunscreens, we look at the chemistry of the UV rays, and what the scientists look at the ratio of UV rays, that we need a good ratio of UVA and UVB. And when they block out the UVB rays, it fucks up with the ratios. So wearing of the sunscreen actually promotes cancer. But putting the shield on our skin, and I remember we had a talk a while ago, and when I exposed the fact that I don't bathe very often, and supported my belief with studies that they've done with people with vitamin D deficiency. And they discovered that these people with vitamin D deficiencies, human beings that wash their bodies every single day, actually don't absorb vitamin D. So for the sun's rays to hit our bodies in the proper ratio without sunscreens on, we need 48 hours for that sun to be able to penetrate our skin and work its magic with the vitamin D and the cholesterol and the rest of it. So to make us, to fortify us as beings, as 3D beings. So, and apart from the other with the sunscreen is that it's actually, you know, with sunscreen putting it into oceans and the rest of it, it's just another one of those tricky little things that have been, you know, put on our bodies, into our bodies, and the rest of it that are very successfully closing us down and closing down a really important connection that we have with the elements.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Exactly. We will totally thank you. Expand on that. It's a beautiful connection with, you know, medical connection and like a scientific way of looking at it. And there is also a spiritual part of it that goes very, very deep as well. So we'll go into that. What are we actually blocking? And Yeah, it's super interesting. But anyone else, do you have a conscious connection with the sun in
Sylvia
any
has.
way? Sylvia.
And then Miriam.
And then Miriam, okay. Sylvia.
Thank you.
Mm.
When I was around 5-6 years old, I had a serious sunburn, like really badly. So all my back got like huge prickles and it was really painful. I had really fair skin like Lisa and kind of a reddish brunette hair. And for a while I was scared, but my dad and also my mom really encouraged me not to worry about whatever happened. And they bought cocoa butter. So I was always like smelled like cocoa butter. And from then on, I did not get burned. And I actually kind of trained myself slowly, not to be so affected by the sun or not to be burned by the sun, but just being caressed by the sun. And never been a big fan of sunscreen. My skin just felt very itchy all the time, so I just stayed with cocoa butter, and later, since I've been living on the tropics, coconut oil if needed, but not very often, to be honest. In the mornings, I really like doing my breathing exercise whenever it's sunny in the mornings, and just absorb that morning sunshine and connect with the morning sunshine through breathing and through meditation. During the day, when the sun is high up after lunch, I like going to the pool and again sunbathing if I have time, and just get a little bit of, that's a different energy, so just get that energy. And I used to do sunset walks, not that often anymore, but I also like sunset. So I kind of incorporate sun into my life, the morning, the midday, and the evening sun, as much as kind of time allows, and it feels natural. I'm kind of just like, acknowledging that energy. And I really feel that when there is a sunny morning, that is really kind of putting my day to a really nice course. So I like the morning sunshine very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. You'll see how you have intuitively picked on those very important moments of the sun, and there is a particular reason for that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, one more. I think Miriam wanted, and then we have a lot to cover, so then we'll start sharing this.
Okay, I'll keep it brief. I'm blessed to be born on a sunny day in the middle of the day, and seeing a picture of me as a baby with, I was big and it was all brown. And my mother used to put olive oil on my skin. So that's what I know, you put olive oil and you go out. And still now I do coconut oil. And I love the sun. As I said the other day, as soon as I wake up and I see the sun is out, I just need to go outside and see Mount Agung and see the sun. And then my day starts. I'm not really a sunbather, but I'm just out and about in the sun. And I remember being in Australia that people said, oh, be aware, and there's a lot of cancer here. And I said, oh, well, the sun is my friend. I love the sun. And so far, I'm just happy. And I'm very happy to live in Bali because there's much more sun than in Holland. So, so that's me with the sun. Yeah.
Thank you, Miriam. Wonderful. I love how you have all experienced this connection, and you have your own parts of this formula that actually kind of we intuitively use. And Miriam, I know we were also, when we were first kids, we were being covered with olive oil. Yeah, that's what was it there, which is natural and great. Yeah. So yeah, super interesting. And whether we burn or not, Sylvia has a little bit elaborated on that, and Lisa also added what is our own relationship with the sun. So if we cultivate fear, if we cultivate pushing it out of our life, well, this is what we create in the relationship with it. So if there is a fear and hate for it, well, then we start, having fearful and hateful consequences, dealing with something that is so much stronger and bigger than us. And we have found that if we actually speak with the sun and we kind of put ourselves in a kind of equanimous position, almost like before meditating, and separate ourselves farther apart, we allow sun to kind of pass through us and not get stuck on the skin and not get stuck on the and cause burns.
Yeah.
So
this is what we discovered when we had no other choice, and we were on a boat in the middle of on the boat between Greece and Albania on a super hot sunny day, and there was no shade whatsoever. So we said, okay, either we're gonna burn to death or we're gonna figure out something. And really, it's almost like the sun itself gave a method. Well, don't block it, don't resist, don't be dense. You can only burn if you are dense and sort of resisting through the fear. Relax, and relax to the point where your molecules, I don't know, sort of become more distant, and the rays just pass through. So as a result, we didn't get burned. And after, with a mixed success, we have done it many times too. But actually, really, when the consciousness connects to the sun, nothing can harm you if you are in synergy with it, and not the opposition.
The meditation.
Yet, well, the opposition came from somewhere. Like, why? Where did we even get the idea of the skin cancer? Why did we adopt this belief to be associated with the sun and not with the sunscreen? So how it came about, and why even those beliefs of you'll go blind if you stare at the sun and all that, or you have to cover yourself. So where did it even come from? And there's a reason, and then we wanted to take you back from the beginning of ancient civilizations who knew, better and more truthfully that connection. And how did we come from there to this? Yeah, so you can expand a little bit on that. I thought it's very useful to understand how and why we are where we are at.
Yeah. So the way that it all started is that, the records that we can find, and this is the records from ancient Atlantean times and their inheritors, Egyptians, that their main deity was actually the sun. So everybody was worshipping sun. And at first, sun was worshipped as an object, but actually the deeper connection with the sun was connection to the source of all that is represented by the sun. So the sun was used as a portal to connect to creator of all that is. And because it is the strongest influence in our world, this is what was used as a portal. So everybody was worshipping sun at first. And the way that they were celebrating sun is much like you guys in Bali see that Balinese do. So their sacrifices, including Mayans, including Egyptians, including Atlanteans, sacrifices were, and offerings, they didn't even call it sacrifice, it was an offering. And offerings were flowers, fruits, and incense. That's pretty much it. There was no animal sacrifice. There was no human sacrifice. There is none of that. So the solar people have celebrated sun, and they were exchanging their energy with the energy of the sun. They used the sun cycles to actually, they worked with sun cycles to cultivate their land, to create the harvests, successful harvests, and so forth. So the way that it started to get corrupted is when the rituals became more institutionalized, exactly like how it happened for us, and how Jesus's teaching was corrupt by the organized religion. So Jesus was just yet another of followers of Sun religion of ancient Egypt, and Essenes, how do you call them?
Essenes, yeah.
Yeah.
Essenes.
And then on some of these first church conferences in the 3rd century, it was kind of starting to get decided on how we're going to interpret the Jesus' message in order to kind of use it as a public official religion for the country. Yeah? So like when Christianity was adopted as a public religion for the whole Roman Empire by Constantine, this is what they used. They used to actually kind of politicize the whole thing. But what actually happens is that the priests in ancient Egypt started creating very more and more sophisticated rituals that no ordinary person can perform in order to, of course, secure their work and their jobs. Because your connection to the sun is something everyone can do. So everyone can connect to the sun, everyone can communicate with sun beings and actually exchange that energy.
The direct knowledge.
So somebody who wanted monopoly over the spiritual connection needed to persuade people that they cannot do it themselves. They need a middleman. And this is what all organized religion has been all this time. A middleman that charges you for the service of connecting to the spiritual source.
So in short, imagine that you have all the druids and the pagans and the Mayans, everybody had an open air temple. Yeah, the natural temples didn't have roofs because the whole point was to observe the cycles of the sun and the moon. So from this open connection, which was taught and available for everyone, of course, priests and shamans knew the nuances of the connection, and everyone understood that the sun is the source of knowledge. So when some people want to be more knowledgeable and rule over the ignorant, so this is where, well, it's easy, then you just don't teach them how to get that connection done.
You suppress the information, kind of like now.
The Gnostics and the Cathars have kept and shared the knowledge among them, and they lived, in south of France where it's abundant sun. And so the whole fight was about to hide the most obvious thing is that you can have your own knowledge coming right there every day at your doorstep. You just have to know the little ritual, how to connect to it and how to nourish, heal, and repair yourself at every possible level. And that is for free and available to every single person. It was so difficult to imagine how can we hide this super obvious thing from everyone, and they succeeded. Over time they succeeded to banalize this wonderful connection.
So you can see how the covering and how sunblocks came into existence. Original Essenes and Egyptians connection to the sun was, of course, naked in the shape of the Y, in the shape of a cup, and actually opening the solar plexus and heart towards the sun and receiving the information directly. So what is the first thing that gets kind of blocked is, okay, we introduce morality and you're not supposed to be naked. So you have to cover yourself. And for some religions, you have to cover even the whole face and like you just show a little bit your eyes. If they could, they would. Well, actually, in some really
they do.
Indoctrinated countries, it's But anyway, so covering oneself with the sunscreen is kind of the same thing. You're covering yourself from the source of intelligence and information. So
because it works, if your connection to the sun is conscious, you can consciously understand the information and channel, let's say, use it for your healing, for your expansion, for everything you need. but even unconsciously it works. You know, the sun codes still enter the body. So that's why the culture is controlling. The more they're hiding their, you know, women or people in the shades, you know, under the covers. So this knowledge has been transmitted through semi-secret and now completely secret teachings. You won't find any book that tells you all about how to connect to the sun. It doesn't exist.
It could exist, but it's in the Vatican library, kind of locked.
And what exists is a semi-truthful information, and with always a missing link. So imagine the ingenious kind of how they were super imaginative to hide the truth that all you need to know for yourself is hidden in plain sight. And all this manipulation is to tell you that you should, you know, close the curtains, cover yourself, and not absorb it, because it would change people anyways. Even if they are not conscious about how to connect, it would shift the chemistry within the body and, you know, bring to more freedom.
We will do the sun meditation at the end of the session, and you will see how simple it is and how powerful it is for you. So that's the entry point, and from there your doors are open to connect deeper.
So imagine even Plato, he wrote that there are 3 ways how to raise consciousness and become intelligent. One way is reading books. One way is hearing clever people talk. And the third way is to open the eye to the sun. And he said, well, the last one is so obvious, but people had already at Plato's time have been conditioned into mental intake of information. So they would disregard the easiest way and go for the mental building of information and knowledge. So the teachings have been almost completely lost
after the Cathars. So there was this bloody episode. There was Gnostics and regular Christians. This is at least on the Western Hemisphere, yeah? So Gnostics are Cathars, Templars. They had the Gnostic teaching was you don't believe the story about God. You obtain gnosis, which means you connect to it yourself and learn directly from the source. So there was this campaign by the Catholic Church in the 13th century, about 50 years, that they have exterminated all the Cathars in the Balkans and in Bulgaria, where always there were Bogumils. And Bogumils are other Gnostics that also had to go underground and were super prosecuted. But there is one
that made it through.
Well, yeah, there is this guy that we can still find his books, Omram Ivanhov, yeah? Mm-hmm. So he died somewhere in 1986, but he had created the Sun-inspired group of spirituality. And even now we have his books on Amazon, you can find them, yeah? He has quite a number of books, few of them, well, one of them that I would recommend is called Tiferet.
Like the teachings of Tiferet. We will put it in.
I'll put
later. Yeah.
In the group.
And it's really, if you follow a little bit and read what Omram Ivanov has to say about life, it's so accessible, it's so simple, it's so inspiring, it's so pure. We're just amazed when we started reading that. We just read everything there was, one after the other, because it's really relatable and simple and full of truth. And where did he get his information? I'll let you guess. He was leading the morning sun gazing groups here in south of France, literally, hour from where we live. And he thought he had his own enlightenment, so to speak, revealed by the sun. All he saw was extreme beauty. He experienced his awakening through just, meditating with the morning sun. And it dawned upon him literally the power, the knowledge, and the purity that that is literally the only truth there is, this direct connection. And so he pursued his life in really high level of purity and integrity, teaching people about sun and connection, and bringing light and living on light, living light. Yeah. And he had been recognized by Indians as Solar Rishi. And for someone to be recognized as Solar Rishi, it's that it has really pierced the mystery of the sun and established a direct connection. So he gave a lot of practical tools and informations about how to use that connection and how to do it. Because we know that
the reason why he's there and not kind of shoved under the carpet is that he did not publish much in US. He was actually operating in France and Bulgaria. Bulgarians know about him. French, I don't know if they forgot, but he still has this publishing house that publishes his works, which are mainly recorded his speeches. It's not even that he
didn't
wrote
write
it.
Books, other people compiled books out of his teachings. So that's why somehow that information managed to flow through. And of course, he's not a mega star, because that would be very uncomfortable for the some aspects. Although his teachings are not controversial and full of truth and simplicity, so highly recommended to look into that. I've been looking into this particular question for many years, and really desperate that there's nothing concrete, nothing truthful, nothing that would be proven to work. But then after all, I understand that all that we need to know is how to establish this connection, how to establish the electromagnetic connection to the sun, because we are electromagnetic beings. We are not a material thing. We're dense because we vibrate at a higher rate, but we are just electromagnetic field, which is connected to the electromagnetic field of the earth and of the greater universe. And when David says about the cover-up, so the cover-up, imagine how can you, if you want to isolate something that it doesn't get it doesn't get any rays, in a black chamber, you isolate it and you put in a black chamber, there's no sun, there's nothing. That's how you isolate. So because they couldn't put a black cover on the sun itself, so the easiest thing is to cover every single person.
But there are now propositions eyes, to actually do it.
Because how this information from the sun enters ourselves is through the top of the head, so hence put the hats. Never go out in the sun without a hat. It enters through our eyes, so put the black things on the eyes.
Sunglasses.
Right? So you guys are saying that you stopped wearing sunglasses, and me too. I have wrinkles, but I'm fine with the wrinkles, and I love, receiving the sun, and I just can't stand the blocking it. And through the skin. And what happens through the skin when we absorb the sunlight? Of course, it gets hot. If we do it in a day, at the moment where we would put the sunscreen, so what happens? We get heated up. If we consciously ask the sun to purify us and to get all the impurities burned inside, they would come out through the sweat. The sweat is really bringing out all the toxins from the body. What if you have this film, covering your pores and your body? What happens with those toxins that are actually sweating out? Or they go right back in, So plus the pores are open for the chemicals and toxins to fill the body, and it goes in the bloodstream because we put it in the sensitive areas. So we manage to cover everything, including all the lymph nodes. So that's how the chemicals plus our own kind of transmuted energy and toxins are reabsorbed back, and that's the harmful part of the deal. So the cover up is almost total, in this sense. And those sun codes, yeah, exactly what Anna says. Yes, sun is transmitting the codes. It's a sequence, it's pulsating frequency, electromagnetic sequence of waves that speak to our DNA. So if it has no way to get in because it bounces back because we're behind thick walls and drawn curtains and blocked in every possible way, well, those codes cannot reach us. If the vegetables that we eat and fruits that we eat have been also sprayed and or grown in those weird ways, you know, kind of hanging tomatoes and I don't know what in the greenhouses under the lamps and not in the sunset. So we have huge deficit in any form of living sunlight because nothing, even the vegetables are really not grown in the sun anymore. So unless you have your own or really trustworthy fields, if they're not grown in the sun, they are not having the same chemical composition and nutrients as if they were. And yeah, the pineal gland. So pineal gland expands with sun gazing. So this is what actually has been prevented from, and is part of the cover-up. All the fluoridation of the water, all of those toothpastes and that story, it's to keep the pineal gland from expanding, because that's where we hold our own individual connection to the God and our truth.
So there we actually kind of touch back on original Jesus's, and not just Jesus, everybody, Buddha as well, everybody who was a solar being, and this suppressed knowledge is that meditation with the sun, connection with the sun, to actually have that enlightenment and final connection is connected to sun plus special toning and plus special verbal formula. And this is what Jesus knew. This is what Cathars knew. This is what the secret teaching is all about. And it goes through using pineal gland as Holy Grail. So in one understanding of Holy Grail, it is actually our brain liquid, that is in the pineal gland. So when the Pope's forces came and actually started killing, torturing these Cathars, they showed no sense of pain, no sense of like minding. They were just feeling bliss. And this is so this was so threatening to them. When Jesus was put on the cross, also, nothing. It's like, you think that he minded. He was feeling bliss and showing that this is possible. It's possible to connect and to completely detach from the body, from pain, from all of these things. And how that sacred liquid was called is Christos, So Jesus Christ.
Also, Amrita, Soma, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about Amrita and Ambrosia, Soma. So there are many words for that, but it's the sacred liquid secreted when the combination of openness of pineal gland, solar plexus, and all the nadis and meridians are open to channel the energy. That's when it happens.
So,
Exactly. So then how is it that we could still reconnect to the sun? I have been observing for many years people who are doing the pranic, who are not eating or not sleeping, and I've been fascinating to see. So what do they do? And they feed on prana, and they don't say necessarily I'm feeding on sun. They're saying I'm just feeding on prana. It just happens. And so the ancient cultures have understood the relationship between sun, prana, and breath. So literally, whether it's consciously connected or unconsciously, it's connected anyways. So if you consciously breathe in sun, understanding that it's prana, that it's vital force, that it's a food for the body, much more appropriate and subtle than the physical food. You need little or no food to compensate. You can run on both, but it's like fuel and electricity in a car. Yeah, we're speaking about two things. One is fossil, which is material, carbon-based food. And the other one is electric, which is actually energizing our inner electricity circuit. So what we're talking about, the food, is the carbon-based food is generating energy, but is as efficient as burning the coal, We need a lot of material for little result. It's, if you can imagine those old locomotives, yeah, they needed tons of coal to get going. Or actually electricity does the same thing, much more efficient, clean and fast and instant. Yeah. So if we could change from this inefficient way of getting the energy through the food to energizing our electric circuits, because we're electromagnetic, we're not material, I repeat. So in that way, we transform the sunlight into kinetic energy, which it's completely different circuit. It's not using the same metabolism. So people who have managed to transcend this barrier of from one system to the other, they have actually rewired the inner rules of the body that accepts the sunlight as the food. And so this photosynthesis, literally like in plants, is happening inside of their body. They're not losing weight, and they don't even need water.
And we have met actually two people like this. So this is very fascinating to first feel their energy. Yeah. And actually to see that they're not changing. It feels like they're not
conserved.
They're not aging.
Yeah, they're not aging. They're not, they look always the same years later in constant.
And they're running day long, the French guy that we are working with has like the workshop all day, very equal energy. We all have breaks for the meals.
Breakdowns, breakthroughs, or any kind of pee breaks, tea breaks, and it just goes on. Yeah. Like in the same steady way.
Same steady inner peace and like radiating inner peace and purity. So it's very, very, very amazing.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So if you have a chance to meet someone in person who has transcended started running on solar batteries, well, that's something really.
And David, you're absolutely right. Just a little digression, because Miriam had the same thing. This thing about now people wanting to beam
electromagnetic waves into
your pineal gland with those supposed to be thermometers.
That's the next level.
One of these little hidden, all kind of on the surface, it's not a big deal, but magically, if we look at it as a magic act, somebody is pointing the gun and shooting into your pineal gland. So magically, even pointing your finger to someone is an attack, and not pointing a machinery that beams electric field. So on a magic level, and we operate on it much more than what it really means on the surface, it's like really an assault. So yeah, you're right to being enraged, both of you.
Yeah, so Amber, exactly about breatharianism. Yes, so I was looking at that. So it has.
Yeah, actually.
So that breatharianism is using the prana as food. Yeah. So just imagine for a second, what kind of world would we live in if we would be completely autonomous from any kind of food? How many animals will not suffer to be fed to people? How much more time we would have to, how much less we would have to produce stuff and everything that's food related. Well, basically we're a food producing and consuming machine, covering the earth and exhausting it from its resources.
Most energy that we lose is on sex and digesting food. So these are, if we take digesting food, and it's like we do it daily. So if we don't digest food, we liberate those resources to do some things that are much higher spiritually. And Hannah, yes, I knew the guy as well. This is the guy who wanted to be breatharian and stopped eating, and then he died. And I remember very clearly the guy. I actually spoke with him. This is what happens when we are forcing something before we are really ready for it. So it's also, we mentioned it one of the previous teas, what happens when you come close to the beings of super high vibration. If you're not ready to transmit their energy, if there are still energetic blockages that have not been cleared, like Manly Hall, for example, getting in contact with his spiritual guys, he would bleed through the ears, because like the energetic difference in frequencies is such that it is super attacking the level of his impurity. So he cannot purify it in a moment of encounter. So we need to purify before we can get in touch with spirit guides. These are all these octaves. So the guy who died his body was not ready to feed on prana, and he forced it. He just stopped eating, and it was obvious through time he was getting thinner and thinner. People who don't eat food, who are ready for it, they don't lose weight. They are staying always the same. And your body, like we said last time, your body is your barometer if you're doing something right or wrong. Body will not lie.
So definitely not stopping eating and then saying, okay, now I'm breatharian or feeding on prana, no matter what you can hear. Otherwise, all the Africans would be breatharians by now, So it would be so much easier if we could do just like that. But no, we need to take off this belief system, because yes, feeding on carbon food is a belief that has been imprinted in us from day one. So we had no choice but to believe that that's the only way to survive, and the body fully accepts it and integrates it. Yet we can change that belief system over time. So this is where the sun gazing actually comes in. And it's absolutely fascinating how it's available, it's for free, it's not even that difficult. The body has to be ready, and it has to be an inner calling, really. It cannot be done, okay, I'll try because I want to be special or different. No, it has to be a calling where you really look at, I can tell you what my feeling is. I open the fridge, I look inside, there's nothing I can imagine eating. I close it, I open it again, maybe something else appeared, So if you have that feeling of you don't know what to eat because nothing inspires you, but you have to, well, that means that you're ready to consider these other options. If you enjoy food and, are focused on that, then enjoy till it lasts. Don't force anything.
So it has to fall off naturally.
It has to fall off because, you have memories of different lifetimes or different planets or different states of existence where you didn't eat. I had the vivid dreams and remembrances of, the blue energy balls that was sort of food. And it's very specific for each one. But nevertheless, even if it's not about becoming breatharian, when we sun gaze, we become human radios that receive the signals from the sun, encoded with all the wisdom that we might need and all the wisdom that is available and we can even take in. So the sun gazing goes in those who mentioned, Sylvia, the sunrise and the sunset. So those are particular moments, 20 minutes before the actual sunrise is a highly, highly charged moment energetically. The sunrise itself and 1 hour after the sunrise is where we can actually stare at the sun. It's very safe, nothing will happen, nobody will burn, the eyes will not fall out. It's completely safe and amazing to stare at the sun. It is a technique, it is a way. You don't just look at the sun, you actively and humbly communicate with it. Same for the sunset. So and there's a position for that. So the whole point of sun gazing is not just looking at the sun, but understanding that if your pineal gland is the antenna connecting to the sun, then the solar plexus, which actually is called for a reason a solar plexus, it's like a battery. You know, we always imagine solar plexus as some sort of disc or spiral or something like that. It's a battery. It's literally the accumulator of that energy. So when you take in the sun from your eyes, your pineal gland as an antenna receives the information. The energy is sent down into accumulator of the solar plexus, which keeps it there. And that's what then generates, in a way, no need for food and all the metabolism that will be based on sun. But even before it's used for food, you can use it for any daily tasks to perform. Yeah, that energy that you accumulate through the sun. At the sunrise, that incoming energy is the most potent. At the sunset is the purification. So when you gaze at the sunset, same way, absorbing through the eyes, pineal gland expanding as an antenna, going down into the solar plexus, charging it. Then the solar plexus, in a symbolic way, turns anti-clockwise to spin out all the impurities of the day, of the thoughts, or whatever is ready to be released. So it's a cleansing time. It's like a evening sun shower, I would say. So Lisa, you and the bathing, yeah, you can take the sun, energetic sun showers at the sunset. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there are positions how to do that. So the ancient civilizations understood that the position in Y, like you're standing all straight with arms like this, palms towards the sun. This is a way how, you're the antenna, yeah? You're the antenna. So this is how you tune your 5 fingers. I mean, what does it look like, you know? Like when you put like this, you orient yourself towards the sun through the palms, because this is a very active center in the middle of the palms. They need to be purified before so that it actually enters. It might not happen from the first time that you use it, but using hands as antennas conducts that energy into your body straight. Or if it's a little bit tricky to stand in a Y like this, then you can put it like that, really like a straight. It's almost like a yoga pose. Yeah, you make sure that shoulders are aligned and the hands are in a 90-degree angle and the palms are oriented towards the sun. And then you can, if you're doing it in the day, well, then don't stare.
And this area here is open too, because it comes into the chest and the heart, as well as in the throat, in the pineal gland, and in the palms. All of those points at the same time.
So the reason is like that. You know, when I was little, I was looking at the sun and I was like doing like this because I thought I could, kind of take that warmth. I felt it. But the reason for that is because your hands actually actively receive that electromagnetic energy. And in the morning, when you can look at the sun, mornings and evenings, yeah, not past
until
1 hour.
Sun is 30 degrees up. This is when yoga is done. This is when in the evening or in the morning, until 30 degrees.
So when you can look at the sun physically, before it gets too strong, you look at the sun and you use the hands just as enhancers. But if you're doing this in the middle of the day, or you don't have like that direct sunrise moment, then you don't look at the sun directly. You close your eyes and you feel the sun through the closed eyelids. It still receives the infrared energy. And you capture, these are your eyes. In the middle of the palms will be the eyes, and you take it in from there and feel that warmth and just extreme purification coming in, because you know, when there's a mold in Bali, what do we do with things? We just put them out in the sun. Nothing kills mold, parasites, any kind of awfulness is better than the sun. Simply everything falls, all of those parasitic substances fall off in the sun, and also the energetic parasites. We do sometimes when we do clearings, that's the easiest thing we have. We just cleanse it with the sun. That's the easiest healing modality there is. It's
same goes to
efficient.
charging your waters. Charging your water by keeping it in the sun for a little while.
So the pineal gland being the antenna and solar plexus the battery. Yeah, this is our powerhouse of communication with the sun. And you can imagine that solar plexus is actually in connection with all the universe because of that electromagnetic interconnectedness of all things. There's no such thing as far or close. It's all right here. And if we wouldn't be covered up in every possible way, we would be living in this complete synchronicity with the universe, doing the right thing in the right moment and feeding in the most appropriate way that would be for that moment. So all the confusion comes from disconnection from life. Plus we had last time the discussion about the moon. So the moon was sort of put there to say, okay, so don't look there, look here. Yeah. And way too much importance has been given to the moon, although we haven't heard that moon would be purifying illnesses or something like that. So we use sunlight as internal medicine. Really, there have been countless testimonials about how people have healed themselves by just exposing themselves consciously to the sun and finding that way where they feel what is going on and exposing the inner misalignment to the sun. Because what happens, the illness is a glitch in your electromagnetic system, nothing more. It's not a physical thing. So by sun's electromagnetic positive interference, it realigns that magnetism within your body. And if you're doing it barefoot on the grass, you recharge your battery between the positive polarity of the sun and the negative polarity of the earth. So your whole system actually starts rolling in a most optimum energetical way. So when you are feeling down, ill, off, anything at all, everything is electromagnetic. If you can balance your battery, it will balance whatever state you're in. Yeah.
Questions about natural clothes and also plastic bottles. Okay, so here's very simple explanation about everything that is not natural. Synthetic clothes and synthetic bottles. Where does this plastic come? It comes from oil industry. It comes from fossil and burning fossil fuel. So it is death in itself. It's already dead matter. When we have a glass, it's not dead matter. Glass is silicon. That is it's a crystal that has changed its structure. Natural clothes as well. When you wear natural clothes, you wear a plant that is a living plant that has been put in another shape, as opposed to wearing oil. Imagine wearing the fossil fuels on you. So how healthy would it be to bath in a dead mud from, like kilometers under the surface of the water? So not to mention, again, occult part of this is that if you are consciously wearing the clothes that are all matters, who made it, with which energy it's made, have those plants or animals been asked in a proper way to collaborate with you and allow you to wear them because you are co-creating with them? The point is feeling ourselves always at every moment of existence as one with all the animals, all the other living beings on Earth and all the planets, because we are one. And we don't have to remind ourselves. At one point, we really so feel it that you understand, well, you know, if I have to eat this plant, well, I might humbly ask it to connect its energy with me. Same goes with clothing. I may humbly ask to wear this plant on top of me, and I will give it gratitude and imbue it with joy and back into that whole species. So our whole life can be a beautiful interaction, dance, conscious dance with all these other beings with which we communicate.
Mm-hmm. And so you imagine that same Omram Ivanov, he has a book called Towards the Solar Civilization. So he has a vision, and he knows why he has that vision of that we are moving towards being solar-based and solar-powered human beings with full access to our consciousness. So you know that you are already moving towards that state, because sometimes it just feels odd. Some things you just can't wear anymore. Some things feel awful. Some, like, you know, somebody's dropping the sunscreen, somebody's dropping the sunglasses, somebody's dropping the synthetic t-shirt, somebody's dropping inorganic food. Some things just fall off because they are not compatible anymore. So one way or the other, we're going to get there. But if we can do it consciously, the knowledge is always an eye and door opener, because you understand why we are doing this, and, you know, sometimes reassuring that it's not something odd or different.
Let's touch on the gold.
So the gold and the sun, you all know that all solar civilizations somehow already feel that they have been having gold all around them, because gold is the metal, the only non-corrosive material there is on Earth. Stable in its frequency,
non-oxidating,
non-alterable, that is very close in vibration to the vibration of the sun. And it was kept for royalty. It's not like there wouldn't be enough gold on Earth. There's plenty of gold on Earth, and I don't go into conspiracy theories about how much gold there is, but there would be enough gold for every person on Earth to use as enhancer of antenna, because, you know, we're human antennas because of our electromagnetic field. But if you would coat it with this very stable material that is gold, we would be a gold-plated antenna, which would be even faster and more receptive to things. So now imagine, what did kings had on their heads? Yeah, the crown. What is the shape of the crown? For the queens, it was just a little thing, also for a manipulative reason. But for the kings, they had this sort of imitating
huge
spikes,
antenna, yeah, that looks like sun.
On the crown chakra, from gold. Not any other material, not any other anything, just gold, because it enhances the connection of the crown chakra to that supreme knowledge. Some consciously, some not consciously, some did it out of tradition.
Let's just remind that it's the same what's on the top of the cathedral domes, that's on the top of the biggest churches. There's a huge dome that is like a crown made of gold in the shape of the sun.
Yeah, well, they imitate the gold, but the actual material, the physical material gold with its frequency really enhances that connectivity. So can you believe that the new generation solar panels that are not available yet, it's a pure research, so they're about to launch it. They have discovered that the thin layer of gold film actually creates a completely new dynamics in capturing the solar energy. You can Google something like a new generation gold and sun. Google this, and you will see it's really, it's an actual thing, that anything gold plated actually attracts sun and transforms it in million times more efficient way than any semiconductor that was, because gold is not a semiconductor, gold is the conductor. So royalties kept the gold for themselves because it keeps that frequency, and for themselves, of course. So if you have a choice what to wear, and if you do have gold, well, unless you can afford yourself a little crown, you can imagine if you have a little piece of gold, a ring or earrings. Earrings are very good. If you wear gold earrings, just imagine that they are also connecting, you know, some sort of enhancing your natural antenna. Fingers being antennas. You have a gold ring. Well, dedicate it, put it in on the ring finger of the sun, as we said, and use it as enhancer of connection.
And Philippines, yeah, David is mentioning Philippines. Well, Philippines and gold, I don't know if we have time to get into this sinking of the gold on purpose to hold the frequency of the world money. Do we have time? We had to go to Philippines ourselves and actually do a special ritual to work with that sunken gold. But do we have time for that, or next time?
It's okay, like, it's specific.
Okay.
It's specific about Philippines and gold. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there is something really powerful about Philippines and gold. Mm-hmm. So the women had little round crown because they were not supposed to have that connection. They were not the decision makers. So in a pure version of a king ruling over a country, he's responsible for taking decisions. So he needs the highest grade of information there is. He needs the highest connection. The queen was sort of helper of the king. She was never the one to take those decisions. And also, you know, being that in hierarchy, having a smaller chair, smaller throne, smaller everything, well, she had a smaller crown. But still, if you can imagine in druids, or where the feminine archetype was very much valued, they had the thin crowns with a little diamond on the third eye. So that is the good connection for the women, not the spiky up crown, but the one that has like a diadem, you call it, right? The little thing holding a crystal on the third eye. So that's for the women. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are worth our weight in gold.
Yeah,
it's exactly yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's stored and feel. Yes, Lisa. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we had to do a specific ritual about that. But,
yes, and King Solomon's gold, however, went to Indonesia. Well, they have located King Solomon's gold somewhat in Philippines, around Cebu. So it's difficult to prove and difficult to know where's the truth, but yes. Mm-hmm. Big story.
It's something that is connected to actually holding the holding the power over the energy of money. That's what it's connected to. But we'll go into that some other time.
Yeah.
There is one more thing to cover, and that is about using sun to transmit information. So that's.
So I would like to tell you about charging water with the sun, because it's so underestimated. We have done the experiments. I had this feeling of charging the water in a blue bottle. I don't have, well, almost this kind of blue. It could be even more indigo blue. And then we did the test. There's very little information available on that anyways, but when you charge the water in the sun, you put the water in a blue bottle, that specific kind of blue. I will also post it because it's, for some reason, I don't have it here.
It's upstairs.
Yeah. Voilà, Zana. Yes, thank you, Zana.
That's it.
Here, this kind of blue. So this is a specific tone of blue, not light blue, not any other blue, but this blue actually blocks some gamma rays out of the sunlight and allows other sort of rays to come in. And we did a test with a measuring. You take a tap of water, it had pH, well, let's say whatever, 4.6. which is, you know, almost acid. And 1 hour in the sun in the blue bottle, and the pH went up to something like 6.57. Yeah. So the sun not only purifies, it charges with information. It changes the structure of the water, and the water responds to the sun. Even if you don't put it in a blue bottle, charging any kind of water in sun, not in a plastic bottle, of course, in a glass bottle, you will receive the benefit of the information coming from the sun, because sun and water, they interact. You know, why we love those swims in the ocean and in the sea, because sun reflecting into the water, charging the crystals, which is the salt. It's a powerful combination, and we feel it, we know it, but we don't understand why exactly. So sun, water, and salt, it's also equivalent to a hot bath with salt. Any way you can reproduce this combination is hugely purifying and energizing. So charge your water in the sun in a normal bottle or with crystals inside. If you put crystals in your water and put in the sun, the information from the crystals will be infused in the water. It wouldn't be without sun. Sun is the catalyzer for that. If you have a blue bottle, you'll get another benefit of that water. These are all possible ways how to receive the information from the sun if you can't do it standing in this position in the morning and gazing straight into the sun.
No, but it's actually doing all of these things and connecting in all of these ways, and actually observe how they reflect in your life, because all of it is, you know, it's starting your journey to get connected deeper with this super powerful source of information and healing. So try all of these things and see how they reflect. And Anna, we don't have right blue color. Zane has it. So Zane, maybe show it once again. And we will post it later in a group.
Yeah, for those who are in Bali, actually I have these bottles for sale. They can even be available, or you can find them somehow. It's not a common color, but it exists. So yeah, and I'll post. I really love how Omram is explaining this, so I will type it in the Facebook group about sun and the consciousness. It's completely fascinating. It says no book can give you what the sun gives you if you learn to have the proper relationship with him. Yeah, no book can give you what the sun can give you if you learn how to have a proper relationship. So it is a relationship. It might not happen the first time that you look at it. You say, okay, beautiful, nice, hot, you will be staying in your mind. But if you develop a relationship, the sun will start speaking to you. The sun has a music in it. Anna knows all about it, right?
We will actually share this, because we just did it. This was a special day. So Anna had actually captured this energy of the sun, particular sun this morning, in this position that I explained. It's amazing.
So when you start speaking with the sun, you might hear the sounds, very etheric sounds, very unreal sounds. And if you can translate, like Anna translates those sounds into the voice, we'll put it together. But because of we didn't have enough time this morning, we couldn't put it together yet.
And Miriam, I will send you a link to your messenger so you get the link directly. Yeah.
So relationship with the sun starts by starting somewhere. Yeah. Wherever you are, don't wait for the right moment or right something. Next occasion, just, you know, give it a minute, give it a thought, give it a little go. On the top of the practices what you're doing, like what Lisa is doing and how Sylvia is connecting, you already have your intuitive ways how you are trying to do it. Just next time put more consciousness around it and understand that this is the source for every answer to your every question. it's the source to your health and well-being, and you know, probably future living off grid and off
and
of
very
everything.
likely slowly kind of transcending from eating material food and getting more into the lighter foods.
Yeah, so experiment with sunlight, let it speak to you. Music is hidden within. That's what Tom Ram says.
Yeah.
So this is how much we could squeeze in
Who is Here Comes the Sun? Who do they need to send
Sylvia.
it? Sylvia. Okay, I will. I'll send you also the link. It's a link about our Facebook and Minds groups where we post all this information after.
Yeah, we will keep putting things in there. And so just one thing I missed to say on the sun gazing. When the sun gazing, there's one little thing available, really a method about sun gazing. But in short, how it works, it starts with 10 seconds, really. 10 seconds sun gazing, and it's over 9 months, so from 10 seconds to 44 minutes, and that is capable of transforming the way you are, the way you live, the way you think, and you know, your very molecules. So it's not a one-time thing, it's not quick, it's something that can be done with patience along whatever else you do. But if taken seriously, the sun gazing is absolute portal to transformative, transforming the body and consciousness all together to something completely different. So don't believe if someone says that it's quick. It's not quick, but it's not difficult. It just takes a little engagement of consistency. Yeah.
So we are coming closer to kind of the end of our time. So I'm thinking, would you like to go and do a short meditation for connecting to the sun?
So Rosicrucians, yeah, who were actually they are born out of those secret teachings of Essenes and Egyptians and everything. So they are sharing very powerful techniques. It takes really a minute, not more, a minute to connect to the sun in full consciousness. And this is easy to do anytime, anywhere. You don't even need to see the physical sun because you know what it is like and you're made out of it. So you can do it literally in the middle of the darkest room any time of the day by sending your consciousness to the sun. And we can share this exercise. That's very easy. You can do it with us, and then maybe we will post it as well.
Yeah, we'll post this.
So don't bother with writing.
Yeah, just do it to feel it, and we'll post the steps. It's easy enough. Because important is to feel it. So if you're ready, we can start. So close your eyes. And now sit erect, relaxed. Put your feet together and not crossed legs, yeah? And touch your hands in your lap. So your hands in the lap, relaxed, and feet touching together. And take a deep breath. So now slowly visualize the sun. Great, huge, white, flaming orb of the sun with huge amounts of energy. And now mentally, in your mind, lift your consciousness from your heart and your body and go into the spirit of the sun. Enter it. Enter into the flaming aura and proceed into the body of the sun itself. There is no place for any fear, just enjoy it. You are the son and daughter of the sun. You are the son of the sun. And this is your rightful home. So let now the sun's tremendous energy flow through your entire body, through all of your cells, through all of the intercellular space, and purify everything that is there. Feel how this energy strengthens and invigorates your entire energy body, every particle that you have. And stay in this state for a little while. Keep this energy flowing and purifying all levels of your body and soul. It clears your pineal gland. It clears all of your organs. It clears all of your energy bodies. It clears the points on your palms and feet and opens them up. It clears your pores on the skin so you can breathe the sun in. And it cleanses all of the inner organs. And it invigorates your heart. It clears your eyes, gives you the eyesight. And now slowly we come back to the place where you're sitting. And whenever you're ready, slowly settle and open your eyes. So,
So everyone is back. So if you're doing this meditation and exercise, you can put any intention what you wanted to do. But in any ways, if you just allow your consciousness to go to the sun and back, you'll feel immediate refreshment and energy. But even it's more powerful in some hours. You'll see that that energy is like a green tea. You know, it has a longer lasting effect.
Keep feeling inside and see when it starts, actually, how it happens for you.
Mm-hmm. So for the looking through the sun portal during eclipse, Lisa, I think it's more of a metaphor in a way. I personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable using the sun portal if I don't know where I'm going and what I'm doing, because it is a portal where a lot of things are coming through, like a lot of things. And if you don't know exactly where you're going, I wouldn't use that opportunity, because all kinds of forces are using that portal. Because for once, sun is eclipsed in the day, so the night creatures who usually rule over the night now have opportunity to burst in plain day. So careful with that. Yeah.
I want
in general, my advice for eclipse would be if you don't know what you're doing and what you're using it for, then better don't do anything. That's the safest place to be. It's a portal to really Galactic Center, yes. But if you know what you're going there for and how to go there, and that you know that you are there, otherwise you can have encounters with other creatures who are using that portal too.
Well, literally, I explained how the planes of solar system and plane of the galaxy are intersecting, and the Earth is now literally passing through that intersection point. So now is the proper time for all sorts of multidimensional beings to come in and out of the material aspect, equally dark and light.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I would say it's like going on a bicycle on a highway. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a highway, well, you have to have a big car. Don't go on a bicycle.
There is a specific procedure. That's what I mentioned at the beginning of the session. Specific procedure that we go to travel there, and it involves putting on several layers of energetic bodies on.
Vehicle, yeah.
And there's like the whole thing, how to create it. I can even show you a little bit what it looks like, one level of it. So something like this we have to make around us, and then in that to have a couple of other energetic fields, and this is something that actually holds the consciousness of in which shape we're going through that place.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if that's something you're interested in, we can go more into detail either at the session or at, you know, like specific time that we deal with that. It's too complicated to explain now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I want to show you also the sun code, that just so that you see it, and then we will put it together with this beautiful chanting of that Anna did, but just so that you get the energy of it. So let's see if it's even possible. No, not really. Maybe it's possible to see it, just to absorb it. You don't have to even remember anything. Just absorb it. I will post it later with something else. Yeah, there you go. So, wow. So it's been a lot of things we had to share.
And it's, we're so passionate about the topic, so we could speak for a week. So we squeezed the minimum of the minimum of the minimum that we could, but I believe that the future is in everything around and about the sun, and putting things into the right perspective for us, and going for what's the most natural for us as a human electromagnetic beings. And that's for the closing words. What is the sun internet? Yeah.
Sunternet.
Sunternet is actually, this is how we send information for distance healing, because we are the radio antennas. Everybody is a radio antenna. So if we ask, the sun is the common denominator for everyone around the world. So when I see the sun beaming on Amber's face right now and on Anna, well, it's the same here. I can transmit high quality information through the sun, because then imagine if I send a beam from my heart to the sun and I ask it, I encode it, it's like my channel, and I want to send the beam to Anna. Well, I will specifically address this beam to her and ask the sun to deliver it through next time when the sun meets.
It's faster than Zoom and more and far deeper than Zoom.
Because if we send just like that with intention, imagine how many interferences are on the way with our little thought. That's really not very powerful. We say that our minds are powerful, yes, but interferences are much more powerful than our minds can imagine. So when we send something directly, it might be received and it might not, unless we really know how to do it. But sun is something that reaches every corner of the earth. So when you meditate to the sun and when you send gratitude to the sun, well, it does soak it up and it does beam it back to the whole planet.
Let's say again, gratitude to the sun. Try you saying gratitude to the sun. After all, that's what has been giving you life every second.
Yeah. And if you can just dedicate few words in the morning and experience this communion and gratitude to the sun, you can also encode a little message of love for the whole planet, because the sun will take it all the way around and back to you multiplied. This is how we will eventually all connect through the sun, because it reaches everywhere.
Yeah.
So we have to stop here, otherwise we'll be going on.
Yes. Well, I have to share two practical things. Yeah. One is, if you are connecting to us on that Facebook group, those Facebook postings that I put, like Facebook had some weird algorithms that it shows you or doesn't show you. So like when it comes close to Friday, Saturday, go directly to my profile and see what's posted there. Because if you haven't gotten it in your feed, you can always find it there. That's actually also where you find a shortcut to the Facebook group. I know, but you can't because you're not part of the group yet. But anyway, no, actually it's a public field. But have like a habit to go and check what's on the profile, because that's where information is going to be that you haven't seen. And in the Minds group, they don't have those algorithms, so it's always there. So that's one thing. The Minds, Minds and Facebook group. So that's where all the links are, and that's where all the follow-up material is to whatever we do. Yeah, Minds group works fine. So I always post things there as well. And another thing is that we are in 2 weeks going to have this course, online course, Make a Wish and Make It Happen. So if you haven't gotten any information about this, just send us a little message and I will be happy to share what it's going to be about. It's about intentional, checking.
Well, getting it clear once and for all. How do you make a wish? Why it happens? Why it doesn't? Do you wish what is healthy for you? Or, all these questions that we have round and about, and manifestation and everything. Just getting it clear once and for all, because it's a mechanism. It's very clear. There's nothing mysterious, but there have been too many opinions around and about. So we'll get it clear and have fun for five weeks every Tuesday.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a call like this every Tuesday, and then we'll have homework for you to kind of get better at, kind of getting to that place where it does happen.
Yeah, and because I have noticed that my life is dream after dream after dream coming true. And I said, well, this is so cool, and it actually works. It has worked for me, because I unconsciously and then consciously kind of kept doing that one algorithm that that makes it happen. Not all that I want, but what's the best for me. So we'll cover that. And if you are inspired to join us, reach out. We'll share details. Bring people in, because we have to say we can't get our minds around the marketing. We just can't. So we
don't want to actually do marketing. That's the thing. It doesn't fit.
Our marketing is maybe Sun, and you guys, if you know someone who would benefit from that, please share and bring them in.
And plus, this is going to be super useful with these new waves of interference that the old systems are going to try to kind of distract us with. Well, you know what? We're going to keep creating our magic. and we won't pay them any attention. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's the idea.
So yeah.
Okay, that's I think all we had to share for today.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for coming, and so beautiful to see you every week.
Yeah.
Have a happy Sun Day. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes. Enjoy this beautiful alignment.
And any questions, anything, reach out. If you want to know more, we can do another expanded version of anything.
Yeah, ask in those groups or send us a message, anything that comes up.
Mm-hmm. We didn't have to ask anything to you. We didn't have time to ask because
this time,
too inspired to share.
So big hug, lots of love, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guys.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.